I'm pulling some thoughts from a book that one of you out there recommended to me, actually. It's been a nice read so far, called Zen Mind, Beginner's Mind. And, yesterday we tried to pull together a little bit of a summary to be helpful, sort of grouping thoughts together after a few videos. And this one fills in some nice spaces. It says here, he says, the reason everything looks beautiful is because it is out of balance. An interesting idea, actually. But its background is always in perfect harmony. This is how everything exists in the realm of Buddha nature, losing its balance against a background of perfect balance. So that's that sense of being within. That's the perfect backdrop. That's the nature, the unchanging nature of the universe, which is that love, compassion, intelligence, existence absolute. And all of the change that we see changes because of imbalance. You know, when I was a young boy, I had a big 40-gallon drum full of blocks, which I guess is quite luxurious looking back on it. And that was my favorite toy, actually. And I remember building a tower with my father. And he knocked it over and the blocks all fell down and then they all stopped moving. And I asked my dad, I said, how do the blocks know when to stop moving? Like every time you knock down a tower, why don't they just keep jiggling around? And he says, he told me, he says, everything falls to its most stable position. And, in my young mind, I sort of understood what he meant. And now in my adult mind, I know a lot more of what he meant. You know, that things are always in a flux. Things move when they're out of balance. And so life of the ego, life as we live it with the wrong identities that we have, where we're not established in the unchanging background of perfection, the background of perfect harmony, we perceive this change, and if we identify with the object in the change, namely the body and mind, then we feel that imbalance. We feel that lack of wholeness, that lack of harmony. And we hear that echoed in all the teachings, certainly Ramakrishna and Peace Pilgrim, and here in Buddhism, that idea of this harmony being behind things. He says that, that in Japanese art, ancient painters used to practice putting dots on paper in artistic disorder. This is rather difficult. Even though you try to do it, usually what you do is arrange something in some order. So I like that idea of in the art, in Japanese art, their ideal was to create an artistic disorder. And how difficult that is, because the mind's sole goal is to categorize, to find the difference and to categorize. And so to do something that's outside of order is very difficult for the mind to do. If you're a programmer, you know the fallacy of trying to have a computer generate a random number. That technically there's really no way for that to actually happen, for a computer to generate a random number. So it's the same thing. For your mind to purposely create something in disorder is a very difficult task to do. He says the best way to control people is to encourage them to be mischievous. Then they will be in control in its wider sense. To give your sheep or cow a large, spacious meadow is the best way to control him. So it is with people. First let them do what they want and watch them. This is the best policy. To ignore them is not good. That is the worst policy. The second worst is trying to control them. The best one is to watch them, just to watch them, without trying to control them. He says the same works for you yourself as well. If you want to obtain perfect calmness in your zazen, you should not be bothered by the various images you find in your mind. Let them come and let them go. Then they will be under control. If you try to calm your mind, you will be unable to sit. And if you try not to be disturbed, your effort will not be right effort. The only effort that will help you is to count your breathing, to concentrate on your inhaling and exhaling. So this idea of not becoming disturbed by the troubles that you're having in your practice or in your life. To stay established in that impersonal space, as it were, that space of perfect harmony, that space of perfect calmness. To be established there and to watch the nature of the mind, watch the nature of the body, and through not identifying with it, become objective about it. And then you can discriminate and discern properly. And your bad habits will fall away of their own accord in that environment, because wisdom will come naturally. In your objective state of not being attached and not being falsely identified with the things in your mind, you will see their nature, and you will see their outcomes, and you will see the broader picture, and you will learn to let go of the things that are not helpful, the things that are not giving you what you want. That's the delusion. You know, vice, whatever you might want to call it, we all know instinctively what it is. Vice, though it seems like it's the pleasant thing to do, it is not the good thing to do, because it does not take us to the people we want to be. It does not take us to the now that is in harmony. It does not allow us to be peaceful in the moment, to be fully aware, to be fully awake. So, in this perfect background of harmony, sit in your fullest rest, watch the mind, watch the body, and let wisdom ferment and become your wine of choice.